All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We got this video here from the Facts Verse channel. It says one hit wonders every 70s kid remembers. I'm kind of confused because this thumbnail has Aerosmith. I know for sure there ain't no damn one hit wonder, but we gonna check this video out, see how many songs I remember that I've reacted to. All right. Comment below, what was your go-to song in the 70s? You know, what I mean by go-to songs, I mean, like, if you were doing something that involved music, you were playing that song, no matter what. So, oh, I just realized, music. Hopefully, everything goes smoothly. Hopefully, all right? So, we ain't gonna waste no more time. Let's jump right into it.
If you grew up in the 70s, you probably remember rocking it out to artists like Elton John, the Bee Gees, Fleetwood Mac, and Electric Light Orchestra. But every so often, a tune would manage to make its way to the top of the charts from an artist you'd never heard of.
Okay.
They were something like a twinkling star in the night sky. One minute that one song was virtually everywhere and everyone was talking about it. You couldn't turn on the radio without hearing Kung Fu Fighting, Afternoon Delight, or play that funky music on repeat. But you had no clue whose infectious little ditties these were. And before long, those bands faded back into obscurity. If you're a fan of one-hit wonders like we are, then this is the video you've been waiting for.
Okay.
These songs may not have launched very enduring careers, but for the brief period of time they had their 15 minutes, they had us all tapping our toes and humming their catchy hooks. Here are the 15 best one-hit wonders from the 1970s. Unless you've got a memory like a steel trap, we're guessing you have no idea who put out The Boys Are Back in Town, but in a few minutes you will. Although we can't make any promises you'll be remembering that little tidbit a week from now, so without further ado, let's dive into the ephemeral world of one-hit wonders. Stuck in the Middle with You, Stealers Wheel. This track was originally meant to be a Bob Dylan tribute, parodying the artist's notorious paranoia. Or at least that's what Jerry...
Time out on the field. Can you guys, because I mean, you guys just comment below. Because some of the clips they showing in here, I'm like, hold on now. These ain't no one-hit wonders. You know, because I feel like a lot of the clips I've seen were hits. Or are they trying to say like one-hit wonder, meaning that this was the only song the artist had that was a #1 hit? I don't know.
Rafferty, the songwriter behind Stealers Wheel, claimed. It was supposed to be a joke, so when the song skyrocketed to the top of the charts and the record sold over 1 million copies, Rafferty was put into a state of shock and disbelief. But to be fair, it's a pretty catchy track with one heck of a hook line. Brandy, You're a Fine Girl, Looking Glass. This one's probably the most famous song about a sailor not being able to commit to a relationship. Although despite rumors going around at the day, the lyrics weren't referencing any real-life romance. There's an old fable that claims there's a grave somewhere in New Jersey etched with the name Mary Ellis, who was supposedly an unfortunate damsel who waited all her life waiting for her beloved sailor lover to come back into her arms after years at sea.
Please comment.
But Elliot Lurie, the songwriter for Looking Glass, admitted that the whole tale was a bunch of malarkey. He had made it all up, and the Brandy in question was based upon his high school sweetheart, Randy. He had changed the name to invoke a better sense of feminine allure.
I think I read that.
Dancing in the Moonlight, King Harvest. This one-hit wonder is an upbeat and jovial offering that draws from rather gloomy source material. Sure.
See, even they know, even this channel knows how copyright works. They're not playing no music so far.
Sherman Kelly, lead keyboardist and songwriter for King Harvest, wrote the track after getting the dirt kicked out of him by a menacing street gang when he was on vacation in the Caribbean islands.
Damn.
When he was hospitalized for days on end recovering from the incident, he conjured up in his mind an alternate reality where he was celebrating the joys of life in an ecstatic state of peace. That's one way to cope with a traumatic experience, but definitely not what we expected when we danced to the song at our high school prom back in the day. Afternoon Delight, Starland Vocal Band. Skyrockets in Flight, Afternoon Delight. If you don't know what that's all about, then you're simply not paying attention. One of the greatest anthems to ever pay homage to a little bit of midday lovemaking, also won 2 Grammy Awards and was even named one of the sexiest songs of all time by music magazine Billboard. That being said, the band was incapable of following up their overnight success with anything substantial. I Love the Nightlife, Disco Round, Alicia Bridges. Along with her co-writer Susan Hutchison, Alicia Bridges penned one of the finest disco tracks of the generation, about ditching your man to go to the club. Interestingly, the two weren't really into disco when they wrote the memorable track. Bridges had noticed so many hits featured in Billboard had disco in their name, so she thought she might be able to snag a little piece of the pie and dish out her own take on the genre, hoping to give her struggling musical career a little boost. And lo and behold, it worked. The song was an instantaneous sensation and sat on the top of the charts for weeks. Bridges was never quite able to repeat the success, but at least she was able to get a taste of fame for a bit. Although some might say she was a bit of a disco phony, seeing how she didn't even care for the style of music she was harping on about.
Wow.
Kung Fu Fighting, Carl Douglas.
Man.
Few songs from the 70s were as fun to sing along with as Douglas's kung fu-inspired one-hit wonder. The lyrical content wasn't exactly anything to write home about, but who can forget how those kicks were fast as lightning? And yeah, it wasn't the most...
Shout out to all the people who watched the Martin Lawrence show. If you know, you know.
Poetically substantial song of the decade, but who didn't unleash a few clunky karate chops when the jukebox started playing this earworm? The Hustle, Van McCoy and the Soul City Symphony. McCoy may have been able to follow this one-hit wonder with a suitable follow-up if it weren't for the fact that he died of a heart attack when he was just 39.
Damn.
Even still, his legacy is one that endures. McCoy and Company won a Grammy Award for Best Pop Instrumental Performance for this song, and it's been a staple of wedding party and roller skating rink DJ playlists ever since.
Look at the dance moves.
The Boys Are Back in Town, Thin Lizzy. The band initially didn't even care for the classic track that Rolling Stone put on its top 500 songs of all time list.
Yeah, see, I'm definitely kind of confused here because I'm trying to figure out if he's talking about, like, what is considered a hit? Could you guys comment below? Is it a song that charts, or does it have to be in the top 10? Does it have to be a number 1? What is considered a hit? Because that would make more sense for this video. Because I'm like, I've listened to a lot of Thin Lizzy and they had some songs. So it's like, you know what I mean?
Were planning on scrapping the track or releasing it as a B-side for their Jailbreak album, but the band's manager at the time saw its potential and insisted the song be released as a single, and the rest is history. We don't mean to get too sidetracked, but if you're enjoying this video so far, make sure you hit like and subscribe to our channel. Stay tuned to see why an Eric Clapton song made its way onto our list.
What?
He's certainly not a one-hit wonder artist.
Yeah, so what do you...
Ooh Child, 5 Stair Steps. 5 Stair Steps had minor success recording in Chicago with Curtis Mayfield back in the 60s, but nothing compared to the success they found after they dropped Ooh Child. The song rose as high as number 8 on the Billboard Hot 100 in 1970 and has since been featured in Grand Theft Auto 5 and 2014's Marvel film Guardians of the Galaxy. The latter exposed the song to a whole new generation of listeners who were likely previously unfamiliar with the soft soul classic. Play That Funky Music, Wild Cherry. We all have that one drunk uncle who thinks they can steal the stage on karaoke night with this song. The band's name was inspired by a box of cough drops that songwriter Rob Parisi saw while at the hospital on an overnight visit. The song itself traces its origins to the show the band played, where a disgruntled audience member, unsatisfied with the band's hard rock sound, yelled, "Play some funky music, white boy." Rob knew the second he heard it, that line would make for a perfect hook for a hit song, and he was correct. As history tells us, it would also be Wild Cherry's one and only hit single. You Light Up My Life, Debbie Boone. Arguably one of the most romantic songs to ever hit the charts, Debbie Boone's biggest and only hit rose to the top of the Billboard Hot 100 and stayed there for 10 weeks straight. Mark my words, next time you're at a wedding, you're almost guaranteed to hear this song played at least once. Rock the Boat, the Hughes Corporation. Well, technically the band had one previous minor hit back in '74 with their song Stallion, which charted at number 63 on the Hot 100. But Rock the Boat is the only song from the disco soul trio that you probably remember. It was initially considered a flop as well. For months, the song had received 0 radio play and sold no records, but when it became a favorite of the New York disco scene, it started charting. Notably, Rock the Boat is considered to be the first disco song to ever hit number 1 on the Hot 100. Eventually, the track went gold and still receives heavy airplay to this day on oldie stations all throughout the world. How Long? Ace. At first, you might assume this song is about a lover who was caught messing around with somebody else, but that's not what it's about at all. In truth, this one-hit wonder is about Terry Comer, Ace's bass player, whom the rest of the band discovered was playing with other bands in his downtime.
Yeah.
They were furious about it and wanted to know how long this had been going on.
Right.
So they did what any band would have done when they felt cheated on by one of their own and wrote a song about it.
Yeah.
Half a century later, Comer is still being shamed for his musical unfaithfulness through Ace's lone hit. Hooked on a Feeling, Blue Suede. Ooga Chaka, Ooga Ooga. Although this pop song was originally written in 1968 by Mark James and performed by B.J. Thomas, it reached number 1 when Blue Suede covered it in 1974. Frontman Bjorn Skifs made the song's racially insensitive intro famous, although British musician Jonathan King was the first one to make use of it in his 1971 cover of the song. He described the Ooga Chaka as a reggae rhythm of sorts. Blue Suede modified the original lyrics, which included a drug reference, to not stir up any controversy. Yet again, Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy made the song popular when it was included in the film's soundtrack, exposing the hit to a whole new generation of listeners. Layla, Derek and the Dominoes. This one is going to close out our list of one-hit wonders. Eric Clapton certainly can't be lumped into a list of one-and-done hit artists, not by a long shot, but this love ballad about George Harrison's wife, Pattie Boyd, was the only hit song from Clapton's supergroup. Doused in scandal owing to the fact that Clapton and George were pretty close at the time, this hit single was ranked at number 27 of Rolling Stone's list of the 500 greatest songs of all time, and the unplugged acoustic version won a Grammy in 1993 for Best Rock Song.
Man.
Well, that's about all of the one-hit wonders we can pack into this video.
Yeah, so I guess they're just talking about songs that I don't know. Hopefully you guys commented down below. I'm so glad they didn't play the music in here. Now I gotta, hopefully this won't get blocked for the videos that they're showing. Ain't that crazy? But again, appreciate y'all commenting and coming over and watching. All right. Peace out.